What is up, guys? Today I come to you with a double review of Servamp. Now, this is of episodes 8 and 9. So, starting with episodes 8, one thing I have to do say is that I like how Servamp tries to, be different. Like, when you look at it at a visual perspective, visually, it looks like a very simple show, something that probably deals with school life and slice of life. But when it gets really into the story plot, the characters, just the drive of the entire series, it's something completely different than what you see when you see the characters, because the characters are drawn very simply. They're drawn simple, but when it gets down to who they are, how they interact with each other, how they deal with situations, this whole type of fantasy type of series, you would have never thought it was fantasy just looking at it. I think that was a really cool approach that we're doing. Like, we're gonna try to be as simple as we can be through the visuals, but when we get driven into the story, we're going to try to flip the script. You would have never thought there were going to be some, bizarre characters in such a series, but they pull it off very well. They pull it off very well. Now, to get into episode 8, like, we see where Kuro is still stuck in his ball, and only Mahiro is capable of seeing him. He's trying to show everybody else, like, Kuro is talking to me, he's responding, but nobody can see. They just see him in this ball, and they're trying every way they can to try to take him out of this ball. So, they're still formulating a plan in order to save Licht and Lawless, who has been captured by Tsubaki. And their plan is that the building that Tsubaki is keeping them captured in is containing like about 44 floors or 45 floors, and there's like 5 floors worth of basement. So they're thinking that, if a servant and his Eve is separated for more than 24 hours, the Eve dies, and the servant, who is immortal, cannot die unless, we found out in this episode the only way that a servant can die was you have to break them, meaning you have to break the contract with their Eve in order to break them or kill them. So while they're off, trying to figure out a plan, Mahito has to go and find a way in order to trying to find a way to help Kuro go back into his original form. Now, we saw this particular character back in, I believe, in episode 3 or 4, when Mahito found out that Sakia was a vampire. And this guy, the Eve of Envy, his name is Arisun Mikuni, who's actually the older brother of Misono, but they seem to have bad blood with each other. He runs an antique shop, and then we have a scientist who works with Mikuni, and he goes by the name of Johans, and he's fascinated that servamps are like this most fascinating, what probably the 7 wonders of the world, and he finds out that Kuro's in the ball, so he's gonna actually help Mahito try to get Kuro out of his predicament. And what he does, which is actually relevant into episode 9, he writes Mahito's full name in English on his forehead, and then he makes him drink this type of liquid that he concocted, and it causes Mahiro to go to sleep, and he's going into Kuro's mind. Episode 8 ends off with Misono going into the building and trying to go to the 44th floor, and then we see where Sakia, he actually knows what they're about to do, and is about to do anything he can to stop them from reaching Licht and Lawless. So getting to episode 9, it was a really point driven, and we got a lot of information concerning these servants, something that I would have never thought when I first started this series. So Misono is up against Sakia, Sakia with his whole lying thing. And I had to lie in order to protect, but you guys don't understand Tsubaki's true intentions, that Tsubaki's actually trying to search for a key. So that's why he's causing all of this mischief, this war between the vampires, because he's trying to find some type of answer. We don't know why he wants to find an answer, what particularly he's going to use it for, but if he can create enough stir against the siblings and other people, then possibly he may be able to find that path in order to find that key that he's looking for. Now, the main focus is episode 9, that really it was the really driven point of that episode was we got into Kuro's mind. And in his mind, you see that little cat, and I guess it's almost like a guide for whoever is the Eve of Kuro. And we get into his memory. So Mahito meets up the cat, and the cat saying, you should get out because the further you go in, the more you're gonna know about Kuro, and Kuro doesn't want that. But for them to get a closer link with each other and possibly find an answer for Kuro to go back to his original form, Mahito has to travel through his mind. Now he lands upon like several memories of Kuro's past. And of course, what was really shocking about episode 9 was that we find out that actually the servamps were created. They weren't born, or they weren't just, turned into vampires, humans turned into vampires. They were created by a human. And we don't know for sure how this links up with Tsubaki. Possibly it links up with Tsubaki being the person who created them and lost his memories. Or this is just my hypothesis that possibly it was Tsubaki who lost all his memories and just knows that they're related, and he was the one who lasted long enough and turned into a vampire. Or the creator created him in order to stop the siblings. But of course, remember, the 7 siblings, they had a meeting with each other. Of course, Kuro is the oldest sibling, and they had that meeting where they had to justify whether to kill Tsubaki. I guess they were mentioning about Tsubaki, to kill him or not to kill him. Of course, we know who was against it and who was for it. Envy, pride, and who was it again? Lust were all for killing. And you have wrath, greed, and I forgot who was the other one, but they were against it. So, and Kuro actually was for it. It was very surprising. All this time we would have thought he was against it, but he was for it. But when he went to go actually kill the person who created them, he wavered. That's why he has, now we see why Kuro is so against, because at that moment when he had to kill the person that created him, like the person that you can consider their father, he killed him. And possibly he's also the reason that he's wavering against killing his own sibling, because they all want, the people who want to kill him and those who are still against it. That's where Kuro's wavering because of what happened all those years ago. And then we see where, all the siblings separate. Greed absolutely hates Kuro. And now Kuro lived for how much years with this impending regret and sadness and just anger at himself, because he could not be the person that was in charge, and he wavered at the last minute, and he doesn't know if what he did was right and wrong. And I thought, all of this is just coming full circle. So really, this person who created the servamps, I don't know what was his main purpose for creating them. Was it for the purpose of to put fear into people, or for the servamps, like the servant vampire, to just serve humans and make contracts with many humans until the human dies off, or they can find their own new Eve? We don't know exactly the whole reason why he created them, but the sole fact that they were created was a very interesting aspect of episode 9. Now we see where Mahito, he doesn't change his mind and still wanting to be with Kuro. And Kuro, we see that possibly he may have started to accept himself and accept the decision that he made, that yes, he was wrong, but everybody has made wrong choices in their life. It's a matter of, getting over it and keep moving forward. And it just left on that type of cliffhanger. So hopefully in episode 10 we see where Kuro goes back to his original form, and hopefully he fully accepts himself and go help Mahito and the others to rescue Licht and Lawless. And by the way, Licht kicked down the wall. They were in the same room but just separated by a wall, and they were arguing with each other, and Licht managed to kick down the wall, and it looks like he's going to save him. But there's still going to be problems with Tsubaki's subclass, and Tsubaki may interfere with the rescue mission. So it was really interesting in episode 9. Episode 8 was good, but really episode 9 just took it to a whole new level. We just got history on the Servamps and just who they are, and we got more history on Kuro. So I was really happy for that. I was really hoping they would have done that, and I'm satisfied. But there's still some stuff that I want them to do. So if you saw this week's episode of Servamp episode 9, and if you saw Servamp episode 8, please do tell me in the comment section below on how you felt about it. How do you feel about knowing the history of the Servamps, and is there any more questions that you guys have for the last upcoming episodes? Because we have about possibly 4 more episodes. I'm not too sure. But do tell me in the comment section below. The links are in the description box as always, so you guys can go check that out. And I'm Kimmy Chan of Anime Legends Podcast, and I will see you guys later. Bye!